again with American Legacy Fishing Company. You know, one of our favorite presentations around here is to throw a football jig. It's real popular. It's a great technique on all of these TVA lakes in the area. You know, you get off on some of these main river drops and ledges and, you know, throw that football jig. It catches a lot of big fish. Of course, it works all across the country too. So we figured we'd take the time, do a little video on what we think is the perfect football jig rod, a question we get asked all the time. And so basically what it comes down to is when you're throwing a football jig, the most important thing in my opinion is sensitivity. And this is for two different reasons. The first reason is that whenever you are fishing in 20, maybe even 25 feet of water, and you get a fish pick up your jig, you need to be able to feel that. You need to feel whether, you know, he chomps down on it or is playing with your trailer or whatever's going on. You need a rod that's going to transmit that vibration and that you're going to be able to feel that. The second reason is because, and what I think is the most important one, is that you're going to need to know what kind of bottom you're fishing. You need to be able to tell when that jig comes across the shell bed or a rock pile or a stump. If you're dragging it over the top of a stump, that's something you're going to need to feel. That's when you're going to get your bite and that's when you're going to catch your fish. So it's really important that you have a rod that can tell you that. If you don't have a rod that's sensitive enough, you're not going to effectively fish a football jig the way that, you know, the potential that it has at least. So for that reason, perfect football jig rod to us is the NRX, the Loomis NRX 894C JWR. This is a 7-foot 5-inch rod, so it's got a lot of length to it. That's going to give you a better hook set, increased casting distance, and it's just going to be overall, you know, you want that little bit longer rod. That 7.3 plus rod is what you want for a football jig. This one's 7.5, so it's about perfect. It's a 4-power, so it's a heavy action. Okay, it's got a little bit of tip to it that's going to help you cast the bait farther, but it's got a ton of backbone, and that's really what you need. Now, when we talk about this rod and when we recommend the 894, we're you know, basing this that you're going to, off of the fact that you're going to be throwing 16 or 20 pounds, say Super FC Sniper fluorocarbon. If you're going to downsize your line, then you're going to need to downsize your rod too, just to make sure you're not breaking fish off. But we pair this up with 16 or 20 pound line. The most important thing is you can't have too stiff of a rod, and the problem that creates is you bring it over a stump and you don't have any give to bring it over the top of it. It just kind of loads right into the stump, and then you're hung up and you got to run over the top of it to get your bait back. This has just enough tip that it can kind of absorb that. You can drag it right over the top of there, just kind of hop it up off the top, and you know, as soon as that thing gets popped off of a stump, that's when a big bass is going to come out and eat it. So that's really important with this rod. And that extra length and extra backbone is going to help you jam a hook set in there and pick up line in a hurry and make sure you get it away from those stumps so you don't get hung up down there. The rod, too, another thing that's great is it's super lightweight. You know, all the NRXs are crazy light, and this is no different. Even though it's a 7'5" heavy, it's super, super lightweight, very well balanced. I mean, it's a rod you can no doubt fish with all day long, and you're not going to get tired. You're going to be able to throw that 3/4 1 ounce jig all day long. Not by the end of the day, you're not even going to be able to tell you were fishing with it. So that's really important in a football jig rod to me. Like I said, sensitivity is paramount. That's why the NRX is the way to go. I promise you guys are going to love this rod if you throw a football jig with it. It's going to get you hooked for sure. So we appreciate you watching. We really do. And like us on Facebook and check us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And we'll see you guys out on the water.